Good morning. My name is Marissa Arnold. I am your Director for Northern Ontario for OREA. I am also thankful to be this year's chair of the YPN committee. Today, we've got some great content for you about how to manage your business and what to do when the market shifts. I cannot wait to hear from our wonderful panelists. We've got Kelsey, Belluz, Laura Tourangeau, and Matt Richling. They are all members of the YPN in different markets around the province. Before we get started though, I'm just going to get on my soapbox for 2 seconds and plug the Reality conference coming up in a couple of weeks. We hope you can join us. The speaker lineup is incredible. We will be continuing to announce new speakers leading up to the event. We also are very much looking forward to the YPN Boost event. We're celebrating OREA's 100th birthday, and we're kicking off the conference with a great Gatsby themed event. The YPN is hosting, but by all means, you can all attend. Never met a theme night I didn't love, so I cannot wait to see you all in all of your wonderful costumes. Also, a special shout out to the Sudbury people on the webinar. I noticed there's a few of you, so hi. Okay, let's get started. Welcome, Kelsey, Matt, and Laura. I'll kick us off with a first just super general question. I will also say questions are welcome. Just put them in the chat or in the Q&A, and we'll do our best to get through all of them in the hour that we have. So I'll kick it off to all of you. How has your business changed in the recent months with the shifting market? Who wants to start us off?
Okay, I'll go. Hey, everybody. Okay, so my market, I'm in Thunder Bay, so we have a bit of a smaller market. It has shifted slightly. What I do notice is it's a lot more about information and not like that fast-paced hustle and bustle like it was the last 3 years. So we have to take that time to educate our clients throughout the process, but also prepare them for what's to come at the beginning of the process. So nothing is a surprise along the way. I mean, there's always unforeseen things, but if you can prepare them for what you think might happen, I think that that's the key to success in a market like this. So I've shifted my business that way, and I've noticed it's been successful in this changing market.
Okay, Matt, you're next up on my screen. Do you want to add anything?
Sure. So I think some of the biggest things that we did to our lead generation kind of strategy or expectations for the market is really revolving around just having more conversations. So it's a very scary time when the market changes for some people. Other people take advantage of it. And so for us, it was really kind of, I don't want to say going back to basics sounds so cliche, but it's just, that's kind of what we do is, right? We go back and we reanalyze and we go, okay, what are our strategies? What are the things we want to achieve? And what are the things we need to just do to, let's say, get us through or to continue to have more? And at the end of the day, that's what it ended up being. It ended up being having more conversations. So for lead gen, we put more money into it. We put more effort into it, right? And we really started focusing more on our previous and past clients. So more on the relationship building. But it was the main changes we made was just more. We wanted to do more touches, right? A lot of Tom Ferry right now is like, if you're doing 100x before, now you're doing 300. It's things like that type of mentality. So,
Laura?
Education is huge. And like Matt said, doing more. And I think, with listings sitting on the market longer than a few days now, there's a good opportunity to go back and to really market around your listing, to even door knock the neighbors or have a special open house for the neighbors, maybe an hour, half hour before your public open house. Just good opportunities to leverage your listings again, whereas, they were off the market before you could really do a whole lot with them. And it impresses sellers too. So if somebody down the streets, thinking of selling their home, they might not have anything to do with your current listing, but they like what you're doing. And that's a good way to get other seller leads as well.
Okay. Do we want to elaborate on what that more is? Specifically, what are you doing? We talk about more touch points, more communication. What if you don't have anything to say? What do you do?
So I like, I like just listed postcards. I used to do those and I had a really good return with them. So I finally got to do those again. And, you know, people hang on to that stuff, surprisingly, you know, especially if it's a neighborhood that maybe, you know, there's some turnover happening. People are starting to downsize, and those are the people that are going to tuck it away in their drawer and they're going to call you, you know, especially if you're doing something a little bit different or before anybody else is doing that type of marketing yet.
Okay. Matt, Kelsey, anything to add?
I agree with Laura on that. It's funny because in our market, it's a lot of copycat syndrome. You see one person doing something really, really well, and everybody follows suit within a couple weeks. So it's always important, like stick to your roots with what you're finding that's working in this market, but consistently keep an eye on what's going on and shift it a little bit to stand yourself out from everybody else. I think that's important. I do think, and I know we're probably going to talk a lot about this throughout the rest of the session today, but being educated and back to basics, like Matt says. My father's been in the business for 35 years, and every time over the last 14 years that I've had stress, I sit down in his office and he's like, get back to basics. Pull out all the fancy stuff and just get back to the wholehearted negotiating, selling, and educating that you know how to do. And it works.
You asked the question, Marissa, about, you know, what do you say, right? And I think it just comes down to being there, you know, answering questions. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of negativity. And so just being someone to talk to in that sense and having those conversations, you know, this isn't about today's business necessarily. That comes with it, right? But if we shift our mindset out of that and trying to if we're shifting our mindset out of hunting for business and we shift it into kind of farming for business, or that kind of more longer term, and you become more of that concierge, more of that assistant or that helper, then that's the mindset that I find we're able to help someone with, right? So, or maybe not saying, oh, well, today we're going to sell for this, and we're going to put a sign in your lawn, we're going to do these activities. And now it's more, well, this is what's going on with the market. Well, yes, that article said this, but you know, this is actually what's happening. And just, you know, we got an email yesterday from someone who was, you know, in assisted living, and they didn't know how to proceed, and they needed a way out, and there was all this negativity. And it's just being that person to speak to, that educated professional to speak to, which is more, and then having more of those conversations. So
I want to just piggyback on that a little bit. Laura and I were recently at a conference where we had the pleasure of listening to Richard Robbins speak. And one of the things that really, really stood out for me was, you're not in the business of selling. You're in the business of educating your buyers and sellers and helping them to make an informed decision about their purchase or their sale. So if you really truly have your client's best interests at heart, it will come back to you in spades. And that's the way I've always structured my business, and it's come back to me in spades. It's not about me, it's about everybody else around me. Okay, we have a question from Marianne. How do you deal with the pushback or hesitation from purchasers with respect to the change in interest rates and hesitation as a result of the multiple increases that we've seen? Matt, you're on my screen. Go ahead.
I'm always on your screen. This is not good. Well, in reality, it's just walking them through what reality is, and that comes from fear of the media and what's all this negative press around interest rates rising. This is a normal market. This is what it was like a few years ago, 5%, 6%, right? Like my first mortgage was 5.7%. That's, you know, we just got one a few months ago, 4.5. You know, like this is normal. And if anything, you know, the prices have, like, everyone shared those posts where now pricing's here, pricing is there, and interest rates here, everything's the same, and whatever. It's all the same, right? And at the end of the day, it's just kind of nailing down more information. They're hearing things, they don't understand it. So just explaining those things, right? Walking them through them, not being, oh my God, the economy is going to die, in fear mongering. It's just explaining things, walking them through facts, giving them the information, right? Being the professional, knowing your numbers, and walking them through it, saying, this is what I believe will happen. I don't have a crystal ball. This is what I think will happen, right? And just helping them just answering questions. They're watching the media, they're watching the news, they're listening to the radio, they're hearing all these headlines, and they just need some certainty, or they just need some information to help digest that. And that's where we come in. And that's in a market like this is where we're needed more than ever. When there's so much confusion around the market, they need a professional to help them understand what that means and what all this uncertainty means. And it's just a perfect opportunity for us to share that knowledge that we've got. So
you said two things I really like. I wish I had a crystal ball too. It would make my job a hell of a lot easier. And the other thing is, these are not high interest rates. These are entirely normal. This is what a normal market looks like. We've just benefited from winning the lottery a little bit over the last couple of years with interest rates at the bottom. So entirely normal. I think just not listening to the fear mongering that the media is pushing out and really educating. That's a super good point, Matt. Kelsey, Laura, anything you'd like to add to that?
Yeah, I agree. Like, it's funny because I mean, obviously I don't sell in the GTA, so I'm not living the dream of or nightmare, whatever you want to hear of what they're all saying right now. But I just saw somebody on social media the other day. Oh, our market's tanked. Why is there 25 offers on this house? Like, it's all in perception on how people are looking at it. And for example, like I had somebody who asked me to be their realtor recently who fired another realtor because they were so negative about how the market is and everything like that. And they're like, I seen you on social media promoting and giving information, and I just felt a sense of comfort, is what they said to me. And they're like, we want your help because you're not doom and gloom. You're real and you're an optimist, and it's not going to be the end of the world. And that's what I pride myself on. Never once with all these interest rates have I been like, oh my goodness, panicking. Like, I personally bought and sold a house in this market that's shifted, and it worked out just fine for me. And so that's the thing, like if somebody who's been doing this for so long is willing to entertain and put their investment on the line in this market, it can't be that bad.
I agree with that. That's huge. And I think part of it is, if you can sit down with your sellers, if they're buying and selling, and work out some numbers with them and go through a few different scenarios and see what that looks like. And I do find that does help put their mind at ease, because there is so much negativity out there. I mean, the reality is people are going to be needing to buy or sell regardless of what the market looks like. So if you can sit down and basically, show them, okay, the sky isn't falling, come up with a solid game plan with them, and it just helps put their mind at ease. They have more trust in you, and they're going to let you do your job the way you want to do it, rather than trying to micromanage everything.
Sweet. Thanks, Laura. I have always said this. This is something that we've been educating our agents over the last little bit. The good agents, the good skilled negotiators, the agents who are really good at writing offers will make it through just fine, and we will actually thrive in this changing market. So if you're not sure how to write a good offer with conditions, or if your negotiation skills are not really up to par, now's the time. You got the time. So take advantage. Take advantage of all of the education available to you. All right, next question. Lead generation, has that changed for you? Are you doing anything different? Let's chat a little bit about that. Laura, you're on my screen. Do you want to kick it off?
So I actually also have ramped up what I'm doing for lead gen as well. I think, we were all so busy that it's something that we kind of scaled back on a little bit, just with the way the market was, but kind of getting back to, I would call it, previous levels of doing marketing. So I myself have a farm area, and it's just ramping up what I'm doing there, more so than, what I was, because that had kind of got put on the back burner a little bit. So again, getting back to the simple stuff, getting back to having a solid plan in place, I think that's huge. And just being consistent and intentional with what you're doing. I think consistency is key. And that's something, you can't do something once and expect it to give you a good return. So you have to come up with a longer term game plan and just follow through with it and be consistent.
Kelsey?
Yeah, so with my lead gen, I've basically been going back to my database and educating not necessarily the people who are going to be buying or selling right now, but they're going to talk to other people too. So I'm huge on keeping my database and growing it. So what I do is 90 of my clients are repeat or referral. And it's like, gives me chills even talking about it, because that's like the ultimate dream for a realtor. And it's amazing, because I always know that I have this pocket of clients who might not be buying or selling or ever buying or selling again. And they say I'm the only person that they have to deal with. So if I'm educating all these people who potentially aren't even in the market, they're going to be telling other people. And that's how I generate my leads. And it works so well. It's just honest, upfront, and educating anybody who's willing to listen.
Matt, what are you doing in Ottawa that's different now that the market has shifted a little bit?
Well, so in September, we kind of took a step back and said, all right, let's plan out Q4. And so we printed off 3 months calendar, and we went through our daily tasks, our weekly tasks, and our monthly tasks, right? And then we set rewards for ourselves. And right now we're basically doing that again, but now we're doing it on a longer plan. And what Laura said, my big thing, so she said consistency. Intentional consistency. Those are my 2 words right now. Intentional consistency. That's the biggest change that we're doing, right? We're getting super focused on being intentional with our consistency and our activities and everything that we're doing. And so planning out the client events that we're doing, right? We're planning out our daily tasks, because we know that, we're probably going to go to some event here. So we're probably going to have a few less activities we want to do the next day, or, all those types of things. We're able to really map out day to day what we want to do. Okay, we're going to make, 100 touches this day. And then the next day we're going to do 80. And we literally are going so detailed like that, right? We're going to do an open house this day. We're going to start marking it this day. And then we're literally going week to week to week, day by day on for the next month, for the next year, so that we can get very intentional on our activities, so that we can really focus on those things. And what that come from was that maybe we weren't doing them as strong before, because the market was really letting us just take orders on selling homes. We weren't doing the activities that were necessary. So the biggest change that we're doing there is just getting really intentional with our consistency, and really just focus on touching our clients, maybe speaking to our clients, right? Getting really focused on having conversations, being that trusted advisor, and then putting ourselves in front of clients. So we're going much deeper with our clients in terms of events, right? So we're doing monthly things. So it might not be an in-person event. It might be like we just deliver pumpkins to all of our clients. Next month, we're doing a photo shoot thing where they all come in and they can get their own photo shoots without our branding on them, without anything. And then each agent will deliver a framed photo of that to the client, right? Things like that. We're doing these little touches every month. We're doing something. And so it's really right now, it's planning. It's November. We're midway through planning out 2023, having a full set plan of what are the things we want to do. And we're going to relook at that every quarter and really get a sense of stuff.
So for all of you who weren't paying attention, what Matt just said about planning and about consistency and about continually, I hate the word touching base with your clients, this is key to a successful 2023. One thing I want to add to that too is what the others haven't touched on is realtor to realtor referrals. We're allowed to go to conferences again, and we don't have to wear masks. And let me tell you, the conference that I just went to, I met so many people, like Laura and I met for the first time a couple weeks ago. We've seen each other on Zoom for the last 2 years, but we met for the first time. That connection is so much deeper now. I met a whole host of people at a conference and had meaningful conversations with them. And come on, you write
But the next conference
to somewhere awesome.
The next conference you're going to meet people at is going to be which one?
Reality. Shameless plug. Love it.
Even more shameless. That conference changed the course of my career in 2019, and I'm not BSing anyone. So if anyone is on the fence about going, honestly, take the leap. I am the most socially awkward person you'll ever meet. And I was like, I don't know anybody. And it introduced me to the YPN. it got me on this committee, meeting all these great people, building friendships that last a lifetime. And the other thing in this market is talking to other agents, getting their experience, whether it's in your market or not in your market. They're going to give you a wealth of information. If you've got a seasoned agent, being a new agent, if you have a seasoned agent who's willing to explain to you what a normal market is and how to navigate through it when you haven't experienced it, take the opportunity. Honestly, I bet you any one of us on here would be willing to talk to you for hours about it, because it is such a cool experience being in a normal market now.
And if you're too shy and feel awkward about talking to people at these conferences, come and see me and say, Marissa, can you just throw me into conversations? I feel really awkward about it. I will happily do that for you. I did it last week. I will happily do it again. All right. Matt, you touched on this a little bit about the planning. Maybe Kelsey and Laura can expand. What are some of the things that you're doing to help your business for future? What are you doing to future-proof your business right now?
For me, it's planning and budgeting. I think having a strong budget, and if you're newer to the business, it's easy to just kind of lump everything together, but really separating that I find helps a lot. And it helps you run your business like a business. So you can track your, expenses for certain items, for your lead gen or for following up with your clients or things like that. You can separate all of your expenses out, budget towards it. So look at what you have, look at what you want to reinvest into your business, but also having, your own finances that you need to live off of, but looking at what you can really invest back into your business and what things are giving you a really good return. Those are key. If something's not really working for you, then maybe you want to switch that up a little bit and maybe focus a little bit more on things that are working for you. But just tracking everything, writing it all down, having a solid plan, even having a monthly plan. These are the things I'm going to do this month. That's key. That's huge. And it keeps you on track, especially when things do start to slow down. You've got that list basically to look back at and go, okay, this is what I need to be doing. And you can get back to all of that and stay on track.
Kelsey?
Yeah, staying on track is very important. I am the queen of getting sidetracked, so I know how hard it is to stay on track. Make your lists, do things like make charts that show you what's going to benefit you in the long run, because it does help. It works, and you can actually pinpoint exactly what you're doing that is bringing you no money in, no revenue in, no clients, no interactions, or you can be doing the smallest thing and it be your biggest source of clients and referrals. I think it's really important right now. If people are seeing themselves slow down, it's important not to scale back on what you're spending if you can avoid that. Now is not the time to hide. It's the time to actually spend a little more. You got to spend some money to make some money and to build relationships in this business. And I think it's really important now more than ever that you spend that extra little bit to stay in people's face and in the front of their minds.
And I think you ask everybody where they heard about you. So you can go back and figure out where those sources are that are really paying off. Even if you're at an open house, how'd you hear about my open house? So you can find out which marketing for that is working the best for you.
What are some of the things that you're doing? Some lead gen things that you're doing or adding to your arsenal with the changing market? Kelsey, kick us out.
What have I done to change things? I guess I'm keeping it the same as what I've done all along. I found actually I had like this aha moment probably 3 or 4 months ago. It kind of gave me a swift kick in the butt. I think I don't thrive in a market that's like not a relationship building market. I don't like it. It gives me anxiety and stress because I just like to build that relationship with the clients. And I love to go through and I love to drive by and be like, I sold that house 8 years ago. I don't want to ever forget that. And there was a couple times last year where people had listed their homes that I lost touch with and didn't list with me. And it kicked me in the butt because that doesn't normally happen to me. And I was like, Kate, time to make a change. So what I actually did was I hired myself a real estate coach. And I do meetings with them. I follow what they're telling me to do. And let me tell you, they gave me the kick in the butt that I needed. And I now keep following up with that database that has made me successful over the last 14 years and is continuing to make me successful. And it was just bringing it back to what I was doing before this market got crazy and people were taking things for granted.
Matt, Laura, anything that you've sort of added to your arsenal in the change? I know, Matt, you already touched on it. Laura,
Yeah.
do you have anything?
Database is one of the biggest things I went back to as well. And even having conversations with people in there. I mean, they know you're in real estate, so you don't necessarily have to talk to them about real estate, but check in with them, build relationships, see how, you know, how their kids are doing, find out what's new in their lives and ask about it and take a genuine interest. And that is going to make those relationships that much more solid. And chances are those people are going to bring up real estate too. So even if they're not in the market to buy or sell, if you've got some really good information, again, not feeding into the fear mongering that the media is putting out there. If they're having a conversation with somebody else that they may know who's looking to buy or sell, they're going to say, hey, call Laura. She's really great. She knows, you know, what's going on with the market. You don't have to worry, you know, with all the fear mongering that's going on. So just getting back to that, it's simple stuff, but just being more present, I think, with them and making that effort.
I think that the mental shift of going deeper with the client and not wider, right? And so, and Laura, you kind of hit it on the head there, and Kelsey's living this, where you want to know more about them, right? What's going on with their dog? What's going on with their kids, right? Go deeper with them, ask them a few more questions, try and get to know them on more of a personal level, right? And make sure you're keeping those notes in the CRM so you can, you know, have your systems leveraged, but, you know, go deeper and not wider, right? Don't try and make 100 calls, right? Try and have 20 better calls, you know, things like that. So for us, the answer is really focused back on the clients, really focused on our networked area. We've got different pillars. So for me, I'm really big into recruiting right now. So we're doing the same principles, but just to you know, towards agents and recruiting agents. We're also going really big on our agent referral. So this, again, the same sort of thing, right? We're just building relationships. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We know when I moderate a webinar, we always love to talk about mental health. I think this is one of the most important topics in any industry, especially ours, which is so up and down. So can we just talk for a minute about the anxiety or the frustration or the fear of this changing market, how you're feeling, how you're handling it, some strategies that you are employing that the agents in this panel or in this webinar can use to help sort of combat that anxiety and that fear about going into an uncertain 2023? Matt, you're on my screen.
Listen, for me, this market or this kind of shift wasn't as scary as the beginning of COVID, you know, but let's be real, it was really scary still. You know, I've got 5 agents, I've got 3 admins. That's scary. People depend on you. And so, you know, the mental health side of that, keeping me awake, going, okay, like, what if? It's draining, right? No one understands that. No one other than the people who are nodding their heads in this call understand. And, you know, and even if it's on a personal level, going, okay, like, where's my next deal coming from? Right? That's in this business, that's this business. That's why we get paid what we get paid. Right? And it's scary. You know, your closings are dwindling down and your paychecks are kind of, you know, not there, and people aren't answering the phone. They're telling you we don't have to move. That's scary. And so I think talking about it is a big one, right? And just sharing how you're feeling. Talk to the agents in your office. Go back to the in-person meeting, right? It's so easy to stay on your pajamas and go over Zoom. Go back in person. Go chat with them, right? Call up your broker of record or your manager. Hey, this is what I'm feeling. This is how I'm thinking. It's their job to listen to you, right? So just call them. Let vent to them. Tell them how you're feeling. They'll make you feel better. That's their job. That's their job. That's what they're paid for. But you know, it is scary, and it can definitely overwhelm you, especially with all the negativity. You know, then you get that older agent in the office who's, well, I don't know, the economy's gonna collapse, and you're like, well, shit. Right. So you just kind of have to go back to the basics. And I think that's where, for us, it was really just planning our daily tasks. And then you start seeing those little wins come, right? You start seeing the foam come to the surface. But talking, see a therapist. I'm a big like vocal person for that. Go see someone. You know, we all have mental problems. We all have issues. Go see someone. You're not perfect. It's fine. Go see someone. And so, yeah.
Shameless plug again for another OREA program. OREA has what's called LifeWorks. You just go on your app store and download an app called LifeWorks. LifeWorks is free for all OREA members. It'll ask you a series of questions to kind of pinpoint exactly what you need, and we'll recommend podcasts or to speak to a therapist or tools and tricks to help you and to kind of push you along and move you forward. So LifeWorks free. Shameless plug. Kelsey, you touched on a real estate coach. Do you want to kind of add your thoughts to this mental health conversation?
Yes. So I feel like, well, I'm big on therapy. You need to be grounded. Honestly, my therapist is great. And I also feel like my real estate coach is my therapist too, because he understands. And that's the thing. Find friends in this industry who will let you sit there and vent for half an hour over a drink or coffee, because I can guarantee you they're feeling the same. It's easy to say to your friends, oh, I'm feeling this way. And they're like, oh yeah, but you bailed on us last week because of work. Like, you're doing this to yourself. But all of us in here understand when I say that, like, this is your business. This is what you have to do. And now more than ever, you have to go, go, go. And that can be trying on your mental health for sure. You know, and you have to miss your kid's sporting event or things like that because you've got a deal blowing up and people look at you like, oh, why'd you miss that? You should have been there. But it all weighs on you. So it's so important to talk to people about it and just like get it off your chest. You're going to be a better realtor, better family person, better friend, everything all around because of it. And yes, LifeWorks is definitely something that can help. And I mean, let's face it, therapy can be expensive. So if we have a free resource that OREA has worked so hard to get us, I think it's worth exploring. And I think if people are on the fence about it, shameless plug for Realty, they're going to be there. And you know what? Go check it out. I hear they've got some pretty cool things in store.
Laura, anything to add?
I can't say it enough. Talk about it because you're not the only one going through it. And when you are going through it and not talking about it, you feel like you're alone. So I find knowing that you're not alone, knowing that other people are going through it, it's not just you, you know, it's not just your business. It's not just you with the anxiety. It's that right there in and of itself helps so much. But seeking help, talk to a therapist, one of the best things you can do. And they're going to give you some tips, you know, that work for you to manage through it. But I think having a plan, you know, knowing what you're going to be doing the next day, if you're just kind of sitting there, oh no, what am I going to do next? Have something written down, have some goals that you're going to work towards just every day, knowing each little step that you're going to take to get to the next step. Especially if you're in the deep of it, that's one of the best things you can do to try and, you know, baby step your way out of it and know that you're not alone.
I think you
and
all
you
made
can
it.
always, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, you can, like, I know we're all strangers. No, I'm sure the 115 people or the 300 people on this call, whatever, they don't know me. So you want to talk to any of us, you can always call us. We're not well, I'm pretty sure we're not all therapists, but we're going through what you're going through. We're in the same ish market. So feel free to DM us, right? You want someone to talk to, we're here. You see us at Realty, say hi. That's, you know, we're here to help, and please don't not reach out.
I love that, Matt. I think the three of you also echoed a similar sentiment of nobody really knows what you're going through except a fellow realtor, because people outside of this industry do not understand the ups and the downs and the sideways and the bumps and all of that. So reach out to a colleague, reach out to your manager, reach out to your broker of record. It's their job to kick you in the ass, and it's their job to get you out of the funk. And I'm pretty sure we don't bite. Some of us might, but the people on this call don't. So just reach out. If you don't know if you don't even know what to talk about, just reach out and say, I don't feel great today. I'm in a funk. What can I do? And yeah, we won't bite, promise. Okay, next question. I should be super prepared, but I'm not. How are you leveraging your current database? I know we talked about this a little bit, but maybe we can expand on current database. How are you leveraging them to maintain and grow? Kelsey?
Okay, so I think I talked a bit about this with like the people that are my core, and that core keeps growing, and that's where honestly my source of business comes from, and it's very important. So if you've been on a call that I've talked about before, I didn't have a CRM, and I did not have one. I did my business for 13 years without one. And people are like, how do you do it? And I'm like, oh, I remembered everything in my head. That is until I had a child. Now my brain is mush. So I don't remember things as much as I used to, and it bothered me. So I was like, okay, fine. I'm going to suck it up. I'm going to get a CRM. I'm going to put all my clients in there. So me and my team worked together over the last 6 months to like put my CRM in place, have a calendar that's synced with it and everything. And let me tell you, the organization and like the quality of my life has improved substantially. It's like, oh, have you touched base with that person? It looks like you haven't talked to them in a few months. Like, you know, and it's crazy because it's just making me in my own head and making me talk to people again. And it's just wonderful. If I can give anybody an advice, whether you're new, old, been in the business for 30 years or 3 months, honestly, if you've been in the business for 3 months, get yourself a CRM now. Don't wait. It's the best investment you'll ever be able to get.
Anybody else want to add to that?
Well, even just going back to the anxiety topic, if you do have a CRM and everything is organized, you're not, sitting there laying in bed at night going, oh no, I forgot to do this, because everything is laid out for you. The people you need to follow up with, they're right there for you. So you're not, trying to rack your brain or having things come to you and causing you stress at times that you really don't need it.
Well, and I think what you guys are really saying is systems, right? Build out your systems. And CRM is one of those systems. We all might have our different systems. If you're a little bit slower, right? We're going into fall, winter, perfect time. If you're lucky enough to have an assistant or someone or even admin, a perfect time to get them to start building some systems for you, right? When the market shifted, we went through a crazy handbook. We started doing all these more major things. But those systems are what's so key, because those are what when the market bounces back, when it starts to really ramp up in the spring, you'll be able to leverage those systems, and you'll be able to either have a better life, spend more time with friends or family, and do more things or do more business. But for us, it's the systems, right? Focus on those systems, which then allows you to do those other things. So,
All right, next. How often are you connecting with your current seller or buyer clients? Laura?
Yeah, at a minimum, at least once a week, depending on what their communication preferences are. And that's something that I do ask. There are some sellers of vacant properties that a once a week update is good enough for them. But others, every couple of days, they want to know what's going on. So definitely I stay in touch with sellers once a week. I will do this is what happened in the market. If something changed, if something sold, maybe we need to readjust price, but making sure that they're aware of everything that's happening that's similar to their property that could affect their property's value, that they know about it. So you can try and stay on top of things with them. I think that one's really huge. In buyers, I find there is more inventory on the market right now. So just by default, I am going out with buyers more frequently than I was. And again, communicating with them, hey, this property's just came on the market. Do you want to take a look at it? I find in our market, we still have pockets of multiple offers. So just making sure that, again, they're not buying into that media negativity that the sky is falling, we should wait 3 weeks to go look at it, because that's not always necessarily the case. So again, just educating every time there is any little piece of information that you can, and stay on top of things with them.
Matt?
What was the question? Sorry. It was how often do we talk to people? Yeah. Yeah, so to expand on Laura's, listen, most of the time it's going to be about a week. You will ask them at the beginning with the expectation of it around a week. We need to bind our time with the client and what's important to them. So there's a bit of a balance there. We're going to shoot for about once a week, right? We want those weekly updates to go out. But we've also brought on a client concierge whose job is to raise our level of service without it impacting the agent. And so, there's another touch, right? Maybe once or even twice per week, depending on what's going on with the property. So really, Laura kind of alluded to it, is kind of depends on the client. Some clients won't care. They want an update for whatever, like you need to tell them and show them that you're doing work and what are you doing and what's going on with the market. So there is a bit of a balancing act, which I believe right now is about once a week. We're also in a bit of a shift. So at the end of the day, they're getting media stuff and, the market's changing. And so their expectations, and you're trying to kind of keep all this together in a nice little circle. So.
Kelsey, how often are you communicating with your clients?
Oh, thanks for the reminder. No, I actually wrote it down. I'm like, I can't forget after Matt did. So I'm actually guilty of this. When it's a vacant house, I get working and working and working. And sometimes you forget to oh, hey, this is what's actually happening with your house. I find if somebody's living in the home, communication is typically regular, ongoing. Most of my clients become friends. So they'll message me about their life problems and everything like that. So it's almost every second, third day that I'm talking to them, even more so if there's numerous showings on their house or if it's time to look at an offer. I think it's important to remember though that those homes that are vacant, you've got to keep in constant communication with them too, because they're not actually living in it. They're on the outside. They're not going to their home, or they're either not in town, they're not living there. And, you want them to feel secure that, oh yeah, I am checking on that house. That house has been shown 4 times today. It's something that is easy to forget because, you're working in the background, but because they're not there, it's sometimes you forget, and it's a constant reminder. It's okay, put this in my calendar. If I haven't talked to them by this day, got to call them and update them, and always sending them market stats and stuff like that too, I have found has helped a lot. One thing I do with things, especially with the interest rate increases right now, I try to beat to the punch. So if I hear it's happening, I'm going to go about a week before and talk to my clients and prepare them for what may be to come in this following week. I think it helps them so that when all the announcements come out, whether it's doom and gloom or whatever, they're already having their own mind on it, their own spin, and what I've told them about it. So I feel like right now with things changing like they are, it's important to stay ahead of the media and educate your clients that way. So maybe a little bit more communication now than before, I would say anyway.
Okay, this leads into my final question, and I'm going to ask Matt first so he doesn't forget. How are you showing your value to your sellers when a property sits on the market for a little while?
There was a really good, I'm going to answer this there was a question by Jenny, I think it was Jenny, about how do you show your knowledge as a newer agent? And I think there's some corresponding answers here. And my answer really to her would have, to this person would have been knowledge, knowing your knowledge, knowing what's going on, right? Know more than the next person does. I'm going to rely on the knowledge from 3, 5, 10 years ago. And you might have the knowledge from last week, and that's going to be way more valuable. So having up-to-date knowledge and then having more knowledge. And so how do you show your value to your clients, or how do you show your value as a newer agent? To me, the answer is knowledge, right? Knowing what's going on in the market, knowing what's going on the street, right? Being a local expert, ultra local expert, knowing what's going on is going to show your value. So to your seller clients, it's communication, right? They're going to have needs and they're going to have wants, and it's just making sure that you can tell them what's going on and you can give them the knowledge, right? You can't magically bring an offer, but you can keep them updated with what's going on. You can tell them what you're doing and the different things you're doing to try and get their goal done, and then keeping them abreast with what's going on around them. But being just super knowledgeable, having more knowledge and data will really help you no matter what is going on.
Okay, Laura, anything to add?
Yeah, echoing that, know your market stats. If things are changing, let them know right away. Just call them up, say, hey, this happened, this changed, this property just sold, whatever the case may be. Stay on top of it with them.
Kelsey?
Depending what brokerage you work for, use your broker of record as a crutch if you're a newer agent. More times than many, I have new agents coming in and they're like, oh my gosh, how do I deal with these objections? And this is new, old, everything. And I say, you know what? Use me as your crutch. I don't care. I have the experience. You can use my stats all you want. Say I'm helping you. Use whatever resource you possibly can to be successful in this market, whether it be, you know, if you don't feel confident on the listing you're going on, bringing another agent on who's more well-versed in that market. It would be better for you to share a listing with somebody than lose it altogether. And it's really important to just not be afraid to ask for help when you're not confident. And I just think that it goes the distance, and that agent that you're asking for help will appreciate it. And you know what? You'll be shocked. One day they're going to ask you for help too.
Kelsey, you nailed that. I think don't be afraid to admit when you don't know something. If you don't know something, your clients are going to appreciate it that much more if you tell them that. That's a great question. Let me find out. And whether that is the point you bring somebody in or you get an answer for them, don't try and wing it. Don't pretend you know it all. They will respect the fact that you are asking that question and you're admitting you don't have the answer right then and there. That one's huge, I find.
Any final comments from our panelists? That's all I got for today. Oh, going once, going twice. I think one thing that we didn't really touch on is mindset. I know that it's scary and I know that it's frustrating and I know that it's anxiety inducing, but mindset is everything. Positivity is everything. It will get you everywhere. I know it sounds hokey, but seriously, do not let the changing market and the anxiety of the changing market get you down. Focus on getting your head right, focus on your mental health, and focus on putting in the work, and that will get you everywhere for a strong 2023.
Well, and that, to me, that's why when you're looking on social media and you're looking at, you know, whatever coach it is, a lot of them are like, this is the time when agents succeed and things. It's because they're trying to get that mental mindset correct, right? They're trying to set that into you. And Marissa, you're spot on.
Thanks, Matt.
Positive breeds positive. Let's face it. You got to keep telling yourself that, because like I said earlier, somebody fired a negative agent and came to me because I'm positive right now, and positive breeds positive, and it makes the whole experience better.
You reap what you sow. Sow some good seeds in the remainder of the year and you'll come into 2023 strong. Thank you everybody for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you all at Reality in a couple weeks. Feel free to just to come say hi, to reach out to us. And like I said, if you're uncomfortable talking to people, we won't judge. Come say hi to us and we will happily introduce you to whoever you want to talk to. Have a wonderful day, everybody, and onwards and upwards.